We're live. Hey, Mike.
I feel so alive.
You feel so alive. Well, that's better than the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the news yesterday that Seattle is the most fully vaccinated large city in America?
I did see that. Way to go, Seattle.
Way to
That's
go,
so
Seattle.
yeah, so that's like one in a row for Seattle lately.
You know that makes all the other cities slowpokes.
Slow to get poked.
All right, all right. Hey, in real news, we changed our name to Critical Insight.
That's
Yeah.
right. We did change our name to Critical Insight.
I know it's been a long time coming. So for us, it feels like this has been happening for a long time.
Hmm.
But we changed our name to Critical Insight. Couple of reasons for doing it. So we went from CI Security to Critical Insight. CI stood for Critical Insight and was the name of the MDR platform. And explaining to people what CI meant. We could spell it out, and it's what we do for folks. Like when you're on your security journey, you need critical insight. So into what's going on in your network. There's so that you can, thrive and you can see what's going on, and you don't have to worry about security as much as you did before. I mean, everybody has to worry, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's amazing how many moving parts there are to changing a business name with all the dependencies and, things that are going to break. So there's still a few glitches, right?
there are.
I caught one this morning, actually, when I sent out the blast. My return address didn't work. And so not only did I not get a copy of the blast, so I have no idea what the news is today. No, that's not true. But all the out of office bounces that I get went somewhere into the either bounced back at them or something like that. So that's fixed. It's interesting. Every day I know everybody who's out of the office.
And yeah, and and it's true. Every IT leader certainly knows. When you change something like email addresses, you get everything has to catch up to it.
Yeah.
0365 doesn't just switch on a dime. So,
well, if I could point this out, one of the things that we either didn't consider or just the timing was unfortunate. Our name change and all of those other changes basically happened on Patch Tuesday when we got dumped with a whole bunch of patches from Microsoft. And so everybody has been not only trying to...
No, we did it on Wednesday.
I know, but the patches come down and then it's like, okay, time to reboot, right? You got to get the patches on. And that just was a little extra complication and all of that. But I got all my stuff finally straightened out. I got 2 computers here, all patched up. Everything is now the right address. My phone is the right address. My authenticator works. Everything's good.
Sweet.
So far.
So far. And, as an April Fool's joke, we were going to tell you that we were changing the logo and show you a different logo. April 1st came and went, but we didn't know if you'd think that was funny.
No, I would not think that's funny. I'm not a big fan of tattoo removal. So thank you for not changing the logo, or at least thank you for not yanking my chain about that.
I think everybody knows that Mike and three of our coworkers had our logo tattooed on them in various different parts of their body. So anyway, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Commitment, man. Commitment. Also, to get to the business at hand, I'm actually happy it's been a week without a major jaw dropper of an event that makes everyone freak out, be appalled at all the cybering going on. It's actually been kind of quiet this week.
Yeah, it is, but I bet I know the reason. I mean, you called it, right? When we're going to tell the world that ransomware operators are terrorists and we're going to treat them as terrorists, the criminals think about it and maybe go on pause. I mean, that's what you said, right? So, are they recalibrating their algorithms? Are they doing something else? Is it Biden's trip to Europe?
I don't know. They're definitely thinking about things right now. And you've actually seen, some public statements from some of these gangs that really make it sound like, hey, man, don't come after us. Hey, our infrastructure somebody stole all the money. You got all your money back. Oh, we're
Yeah.
just criminals. We have nothing to do with the government. I mean, all of those messages. So changing the rhetoric is only the start, and it's not going to do the job by itself. I have been reading some folks insisting that we should be hacking back. And there may be some of that going on, but that can escalate things with other countries, and I don't think that that's really a good part of the solution.
Well, so then what's the way? You can't put them in jail. What are the policy steps that government needs to take or think about, to curtail the gangs?
Well, so yes, first change the rhetoric. That in itself is going to make some of the operators, go to other targets. But I think we need to, as I've said, destroy the business model of these gangs. And to do that, we need other policy changes like the federal government has to get into the reinsurance business. Okay, insurance companies have an out now for acts of terrorism and war. So the U.S. government needs to be the financial backstop when networks need to be brought back from the, zombification from ransomware. And then absolute prohibition on ransom payments, right? Make it illegal. And regulate cryptocurrency to eliminate anonymity in transactions, and boom, right? You have destroyed the business model of these characters. They're thinking twice about being terrorists. Their victims are prohibited from paying, and they're no longer anonymous. They're going to go find softer targets, right? Meaning other countries to mess with.
Do you think the federal government is watching and taking notes?
Well, I know we have fans in the federal government, but they're in the legislative branch. We can talk about legislation some other time.
Yeah. Hey, also on the blast, New York City Law Department hit with ransomware, and that's a really interesting one, right?
Yeah, this really is interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Not because it's criminals extorting a local government agency, because that just makes it a day of the week ending in Y, but because of the kinds of records they have, all the cases being worked, descriptions of all the evidence, affidavits, closed door testimony, whistleblowers, that list just goes on, right? And New York City law doesn't seem to be saying much because I think this is really bad.
Why do you think it's really bad?
Well, given the nature of the records there and the fact that if I can access your network, possibly, exfiltrate records, steal them, and we don't know that that's happened, and disrupt your ability to use your own computers, I can change the data in those records. So apart from knowing, what strategies are being used to prosecute criminals, the integrity of all their records is now in question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I can see where you're going with that. My parents were public defenders.
Okay.
So, if I'm them back in the day, I might be able to complain that, evidence has been tainted, or transcriptions of testimony might not be trustworthy, or photos have been altered, or something, right?
All that's now in question.
I mean, do you think that means like cases will have to be dismissed?
Well, we don't know. They're being really tight-lipped with information about this, as they should. And the extent of this might not be as bad as I think. I'm just picking out of the news and kind of reading between the lines. The other possibility is that somebody dropped ransomware just to disrupt without the intent to extort. And that might make it impossible to try some cases because they might not get records back. They may be encrypted for good. And if no good backups, no case.
Is Law and Order still on TV? Because this would make a really good Law and Order episode.
What's TV?
It's short for television, Mike. Used to have tubes, then now we have.
Oh, right, the one that can't do streaming. I remember those.
Yeah. NBC has a streaming app. They're calling it Peacock.
Yeah, I
know. All right. So, back to the New York thing. This is a little bit like calling a bomb threat into a school on exam day.
Yeah.
Except this could be a much larger disruption. Although I think there's a bigger story this week, which is what the FBI did with the phone company.
Yeah. And I said there were no jaw droppers. Well, this is a jaw dropper.
Well, it is jaw. You didn't say there were no that kind of jaw dropper. We said that there were no big cyber events. This is not that.
Right. So no big companies or agencies getting cybered, but yeah, go team Fed, right? The FBI created a company that sold encrypted devices, phones, to criminals. They marketed these through criminal channels. They got these devices into the hands of lots of very bad people. They possessed the master decryption keys for the encrypted communications, surveilled 27 million messages over 18 months, and now they've dropped the hammer. 800 arrests with more coming. Tons of drugs intercepted. This is a really great story.
Speaking of Law and Order,
Yeah.
I mean, that'll end up as a book or a movie, right?
Yeah, just just the articles about this are worth reading for some of the backstory and the characters involved. Some of whom have already gone into federal protection. Because when I say bad people, I mean the kind that can have you whacked from the other side of the world. They're bad.
Hey, one more before we close out the time here. Tell me about that password dump, 8 billion.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not a new thing, right? It's a compilation of previous dumps. It's something like 8.4, I think, billion passwords. And since most people do reuse their passwords across, apps, websites, the number of accounts affected here can reach millions, if not billions. So everyone needs to change every password they have right now. No, seriously.
Even if it's password 123, do you just add a 4 to it? Is that what you do?
Yeah, that'll do. But seriously, there is a site, and if you read some of these articles about this, and they're in the blast, there is a site that you can type in your password, and it will tell you if your password is on the disclosed list. Now, that's a real hard thing to trust, but it is out there.
You mean you give your password to a website and it checks to see if it's on the dumped list? That sounds crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I actually did.
You did. So you think it's trustworthy?
I used I searched for some passwords that I have on services that I don't care if they're compromised.
Okay.
And one of my passwords I've held for a very long time. It's very good. And that one has not been disclosed, so I'm happy about that. I don't think any of my passwords are out there.
And is that one's the password 8765431, right?
No.
Sorry, did I just anyway? Hey, we got a couple more things here, but I almost forgot. We have a big webinar today that folks should join. We're doing the cyber risks of going back to the office. I'm going to put the link to register in the chat here. But this is you and Jennifer Clark, and we're going to talk about, now that, first it was go home. And then it was, does everybody go back to the office? And now we see, some companies, Amazon, saying everybody come back. Others are going hybrid. And we're going to talk about the cyber risks and what IT and security leaders need to do. Please join. We have more than 100 people registered for this one.
Yeah, this should be pretty good. So a little backstory. Jennifer and I co-wrote a paper, and it was, I don't know, just a few months into the pandemic when everybody was thinking, hey, well, we'll be able to go back soon. But we thought about the difficulty of bringing in a lot of computers that have been in uncontrolled places, public networks, all kinds of things. And if you're a larger organization, this is going to be a heavy lift. And if you go back to a hybrid office, this is going to be a weird, it's going to be an ongoing process that you're going to have to do all the time. So, I think the paper that we wrote was good. We wrote it for the local chapter of InfraGard for them to distribute to their members. And we're going to talk about that today. I think this should be a good panel because I think we are coming up to the time now when these issues are going to be on everybody's mind.
Yeah. All right. So serious news? No, just kidding. Let's finish with a kicker. What's the thing that you have to make everybody smile?
So the best I can do this week is the sad case of Mo Brooks. As you know, Mr. Brooks is a congressman representing Alabama. He sits on the House's Cyber, Innovative Technologies, and Information Systems Subcommittee. And I think he's also on a Science and Space, some kind of technology subcommittee. His wife was just served with a subpoena because Eric Swalwell wants him deposed about his role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. And Mo was pretty mad about that. And he was ranting about that online. And in the course of doing so, tweeted a photo of his computer screen that he took from his iPad. And of course, the computer had sticky notes with his Gmail password and a pin for something on there. So nice self-own, dude. That's awesome.
He did. Oh, boy.
He did.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe we should elect people who have some technical and science background.
You think?
I don't know, tackle the issues. I mean, although people can learn it, right? Maybe not but that just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, that is always the thing. They tell us very specifically, don't do this thing.
Very specifically, don't do this thing.
And if you do that thing, don't take a picture of it and send it, post it publicly. I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if his Gmail account got taken over by somebody, but
right.
Okay.
Right. Hey, one other thing that I got to tell you. So my wife got me my Father's Day gift early or late. I'll tell you why early or late in a second. It's a connected coffee machine called a Spin Coffee. And so I can tell Alexa to make me a coffee. And as far as I can tell, nobody can break into it and poison my coffee. So that's good. But all I can think of is, and the reason I say it's early or late is she got it 4 years ago on Kickstarter. It was supposed to be a Christmas Hanukkah gift.
Oh, really?
But now that it just showed up before Father's Day, it's a Father's Day gift. And so Mike, so what are my risks here? All right. So I have a connected coffee machine. What are my risks?
Well, so we should actually and maybe we can do this next week, do a little bit of a dive into this Amazon sidewalk business.
Oh, we should.
Right. But just let me say briefly, if you decided that an internet connected microphone, which is on at all times, was a good idea in your house, whatever happens, your wounds will be self-inflicted.
Are you telling me I should run for Congress?
No. I'm saying this whole, voice activated smart home, has a whole lot of bad potential. And what's the IP address of your coffee maker, by the way?
It's 867-5309. 9.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you. We're going to dig into the coffee machine and see if Mike can poison me from afar. And
I'll flavor your coffee with blueberry without your consent or knowledge.
Do you know what the worst thing you could do to my coffee would be? Make it decaf.
Oh,
yeah. All right,
Noted.
everybody. We'll see you at the webinar later today. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.